Hello YouTube, Intuitive Edge. Today I would like to do a special reading on the Q Anon posts. Some of you I'm sure are familiar by now with somebody who goes by the name of Q on the anonymous boards. And this person or group of persons, he, she, or they, have been helping people understand some of the deeper goings on behind the scenes with regard to the government and things happening, and sending people researching, giving them things to look up and look at and research and find out on their own. And it's been quite a roller coaster for anybody who's been following this since he or she or they first posted back in end of October of 2017. There's a lot that's shared, and I'm going to do a little bit, kind of an esoteric reading over the concept of the deeper message, the deeper meaning behind the Q post. So that's why I've titled this The Tao of Q. We're going to look at the message, the challenge to the message, or the challenge of the message, the wisdom of the message, the mystery, what is behind, and what is ahead. Okay, so let's take a look at that. I'm going to shuffle up the cards, and we'll get started and see where that takes us. So give me a moment while I shuffle. Loaded. All right. Cut the deck. The Tao of Q. So, this card is the message of Q. Right off the bat, we have I kind of think of this as the chaos card. We've got a fiery card with things happening all around, a lot of chaos going on, and the cats in the room, something's on fire and the cats are scattering. So this is kind of a lot of things happening, it's a very serious situation, a lot of danger involved, and there's a lot of cats, they don't know what to do. They're scared, they're running. So let's see how else this fleshes out, because that does seem to indicate a lot of what Q has talked about. And if you're not familiar with Q, I'll try to leave a link in the description that talks about more about the messages that are the messages are kind of cryptic when they come out. They're you kind of have to dig into them a little bit and decipher what it's talking about, and then do research and come up with your own conclusions. It's kind of interesting. So this is the challenge of Q. What we have here is the card of almost too many choices and being overwhelmed. So the question here is, how do you parse the information in such a way that helps people not get lost in the details or mired in the feeling of overwhelm when you're dealing with a volatile situation or a volatile set of circumstances that maybe cause panic or cause fear and people don't know which way to turn? How do you parse that, piece that out so that people stay ahead of it and don't feel afraid and don't feel overwhelmed by it? I think that's the challenge of the Q message. How do we get this out to the people without them just freaking out and feeling scared. Okay. The wisdom of Q. Just want to make sure we can see that. We have a sea tom. This is a cups card in the traditional tarot. This is a messenger about seas are about emotions, about your feelings, about how you're interacting. This is a card of the cat's on the beach, as you see in the artwork. And he's taking a break almost. He's kind of laying there like almost kind of playful, but the look is like a little more serious, even though on the outset it's a little lighthearted. When I see this card and the cat kind of lounging on the beach, but he's got that kind of look like it's almost like an invitation to play. It's an invitation to join him. And to maybe not take things so seriously that you just lose sight of what's really important. The message of Q, the wisdom of Q, I think is in the delivery of the challenging and difficult messages. Both the message itself and with the overwhelm. And I think the more people can almost like adopt an attitude of just like discovery or play or something that keeps us. I'm gonna try. Hopefully, I'm gonna try to explain what I'm done. This is a little hard to explain. What I'm trying to say is finding a way that keeps people from getting into that space of overwhelm is if they take the message and use it like a game, play it like a game, research it and make it fun, make it like an ability to acquire new knowledge or learn something new, or find a way to make it relevant to what you're going through. That it's not, life is not a drudge. We're not here to just, have no fun. And I think what Q does is he drops these little hints that are, in some ways, they're kind of playful. And in fact, in a few of the posts, he says, shall we play a game? And I think he's inviting people to take a look, come with him, take a look at what he's showing, and try not to get into the overwhelm and the massive details of it. Make it more about your learning experience. Okay. All right. That was a little hard to explain there. I hope I made sense on that one. So the mystery of Q, we have the rapid card, things happening quickly. And what's very interesting with Q is the timing of things. He or she, or it, or they, not it, but he, she, or they, have a way of putting things out there that are timed just right. It's like he talks about something, and then 2, 3, 4 days later or a week later, what he talked about gets really put out in the news to where it's like, wow, Q was just talking about that. And now it's showing up in the news 4 days later. And the timing of these things, and with things happening very quickly, I think the mystery is, how does he know how to put things out there, and then so quickly the news happens that covers what he was just talking about? So, which leads people to speculate as to who Q is. He obviously is an insider of some sort. It's speculated that he's close to the president, that he knows a lot of what's going on before it happens, and is able to relay that to people in such a way that they can see it and in print ahead of time, which has both led to Q's credibility in many people's estimation, and it's kind of the mystery of it too, that how much he actually knows and is able to give that out ahead of time. It's been really fascinating, actually. So what is behind Q? What is leaving? So this question deals with what is the energy that is moving into the past that's already happened, or that's happening now, and that's like kind of over and done with, and now where are we going, kind of thing. And we have the Tower card, which is really fascinating being in this position, because the Tower is all about things imploding, things being destroyed, things coming crashing down, lots of chaos in the mix, lots of just basically utter destruction. And that's what we've been seeing happening. Those that have been following the Q posts and kind of following what's been in the news, is there, especially behind the scenes, and that's what Q is mostly about, is what's going on behind the scenes. You know, like with the FBI being under speculation as to what's been going on with them, and we've got the memo coming out, and we've got different scandals, and it's like things are imploding. Okay, we've got the Justice Department that appears to be in shambles, and the FBI that appears to have some sort of compromise on some level. And so there is a lot of chaos. There is a lot of destruction going on. This is actually what this card is saying, is that that's actually been going on. It is going on, and now it's like that energy is ready to move into something new. So let's see what we're moving it into. What is ahead for Q? So this is the partnership card. It's the Lover's card in the tarot. Has to do with strategic partnerships. This isn't so much romantic partnerships. This is more business level. And there seems to be a push for initiating or bringing into fruition some type of partnership, some bringing together. This is like a joining, a union, a bringing together. So out of the chaos that we've seen, we're bringing a more perfect union, possibly. Bringing in a more strategic way to bring sides together, bring people together, partnering up, partnering with people, bringing us together again. That would be a really nice thing, because our country, the United States, has been so divided. It's just been like this festering thing that's been going on underneath, that's caused a lot of chaos and a lot of overwhelm. If we could bring something good out of that brings people together and brings like a union or a partnership, that would be really good. So on the bottom, this is like kind of the overall, kind of an ominous card. This is the Nine of Sky. This is like the word, like stressed out worry, like your worst fears and nightmare kind of card, as you can see from the picture. But what it's really talking about is when those fears get to be overwhelming. So when you look at this card, this cat is asleep and he's having a bad dream. And all of these things happening are things that cats generally are afraid of. Like, this is like a firecracker, loud noises. Generally, they don't like that. There's a dog, a mean dog. There's a tornado. There's a big bird. There's a mean cat, ticks. It's like all these things, pestilence, and things that cats generally don't like. And it's being consumed and worried about those things. But the good news is that the cat's asleep, and it really is just a dream, or a bad dream, but it is just a dream. And the nice thing is that when the cat wakes up from the dream, the cat will realize it was just a dream, okay? Or you could relate this to a person that's been asleep, and all this bad stuff's been going on, and he wakes up, and it's like, oh, wow, that was just a dream. That was just a dream. I'm okay, I'm safe. And I think what this is saying is that we've been in a nightmare of sorts. There's been horrific corruption, and that is part of the message of Q that he's brought up. This really, like, stuff happening. There's been so much that's brought up that is really things we don't want to look at. Kind of like this card. It's like kind of scary and ominous looking. And there's been things that he's talked about that if you don't know, if you're not familiar with Q, I encourage you to look into it a little bit. There are parts of Q that he's brought to light that are very, very dark and bad things that have been happening in the world, worldwide, not just in the United States, but worldwide. And they're not pretty. Things like human trafficking, things like organ trafficking. Very, very dark stuff. And when this type of nightmarish stuff comes up, a lot of people are, that's going to be hard to look at. And my advice, here's what I'm going to do. I know the broad general picture, okay? Human trafficking, sex trafficking of children, horrible, horrible things. I can't, as an empath, I can't go too deep into those things without it really taking its toll on me. So I'm going to stay on the periphery. I'm not going to bury my head in the sand and say it doesn't happen. And as this stuff comes out, I'm going to try to help people who may be shocked or see things come up that they're shocked over, maybe help them kind of process it a little bit. But am I going to go look at, videos or anything that come? No, I'm not going to go there. Okay. There's only so much I can take. Some people that want to research and they want to know what's going on and they want to, put it out there. I don't know how this is all going to come out, but Q has alluded to, some of this is going to come out and it may shock and upset people. And so, there may be people like me that just they just can't handle that type of hard, dark information. So, I think the best thing is to not pretend it doesn't happen, but at the same time, if you can't handle it like me, don't go there. Just don't go there. But I think that the awakening is going to be very powerful. And when we wake up from the nightmare ends, right? When we wake up from a nightmare, it's over, it's done with, okay, we're okay, life goes on. You ever notice that, nightmares only happen generally when you're asleep, right? During your waking hours, things are, you go about your life, generally speaking. So I think that's kind of the hopeful message of this, is to know that we can wake up from it. We don't have to stay asleep and let those things happen, and let that negativity continue. I'm going to take just a short sidebar on this. There are so many people in New Age circles, in light circles, they don't like to talk about negative things. They think that if you talk about negativity, you bring in more negativity. I'm here to tell you the opposite is true. The opposite of that is true. The more you ignore negative things, the more you bury your head and just, pretend love and light and everything's all kosher and good and happy. The more you don't shed light on darkness, the more the mold grows and the darkness grows in that corner that's not getting light shed on it, right? It's when we turn our attention consciously, and like I said, we don't have to go down into the mud and muck, but we can shed light and bring life and light back to that darkness without getting ourselves stuck in it, right? But to pretend it doesn't exist allows it to continue. To just turn our eyes because we don't want to face that children are being trafficked worldwide, and exploited, and people are having their kidneys and other organs harvested, and sold on the black market. I mean, that's just horrific stuff. We don't want to believe that happens in our world, and so we say, well, it can happen, therefore it doesn't happen, or it doesn't affect me, therefore, I'm not affected. Well, then it continues, right? It's just you're no longer looking at it. And I hope I'm not picking on anybody in particular out there. I'm just trying to show that it's only by shining light in the darkness that the darkness scatters. If we just turn away from it and go elsewhere and we don't shine our light, then that darkness will stay dark, and maybe even increasingly so. So that's my little sidebar, my little soapbox. But I just think that that's very important, because I just know too many people who they think that, if they just pretend it doesn't exist, then it won't exist, and if they put attention on it, that just creates it, and that's not the way the universe works. It's just not. So, okay, I think that about wraps it up. I hope this was helpful, and I appreciate everybody out there. Thank you for stopping by my channel. I hope you enjoyed this, and leave a like if you liked it, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.